Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Here's an update on Yellowstone. It is continuing to quake and shake. It is ramping up. It's escalating in its frequency and intensity. I think that is a very biblical explanation or a biblical parallel there to end time Bible prophecy, the things that the Bible says are going to be occurring in the last days. And things increasing in frequency and intensity, I think, covers a lot, covers all the kind of different subjects or scenarios of the last days, including earthquakes, including the waves roaring, including the upheaval and the wars and rumors of wars. Yellowstone catastrophe, big one, fears as 153 earthquakes strike Yellowstone just in July. And so the question is, of course, asked, is the supervolcano about to erupt? Well, let's see, reader mode isn't helping in this case. Reader mode. It says here, the University of Utah Seismologist Station, which is responsible for the operation and analysis of the Yellowstone seismic network, revealed 153 earthquakes hit Yellowstone in July. So that's a huge number of earthquakes, obviously. According to the USGS, the largest quake had a magnitude of 2.5 and was part of a smaller sequence of 12 earthquakes. A larger sequence of 77 earthquakes occurred 14 miles southwest of Mammoth in Wyoming during a period of July 16th to 27th. The largest earthquake was a micro-earthquake of a magnitude 2.3, which struck on July 24th. Larger Earth sequences like this are fairly common, it says, and they account for roughly half the total seismic activity of the park. A Yellowstone volcano observatory scientists are also continuing to assist colleagues in Hawaii with the response to the ongoing crisis at Kilauea volcano. And again, you talk about the ring of fire and how these volcanoes are very, very likely all connected underneath by the magma chambers, etc. And certainly the ring of fire is, if you see an earthquake and a volcano go off in one area, it tends to go off up, around the ring of fire in other areas. It says, although the supervolcano has not seen active eruption in quote-unquote 664,000 years, scientists are monitoring it constantly. I would suggest that's actually more like about 4,400 years. It probably last erupted during the flood of Noah. Remember, you got to ask yourself, how are they coming up with 664,000 years? How are they coming up with that number? Where is that coming from? Do they have a scientific, was there documents dated from that period that they can calculate how old that thing is? Or are they calculating it based off the apparent age of the rock through carbon dating or some other dating method which is flawed, which are based on assumptions, multiple different assumptions, only supported by evolution, and that's why they go with these big numbers. It's something to you gotta pay attention when you're reading these articles to not listen to these. So it goes on. A supervolcano is thousands of times more powerful than a normal volcano and could result in changes across the globe. And doesn't that say, isn't that what the Bible really speaks about in the last days? Remember that in the last days God's going to cleanse the earth, destroy it one more time with fire. He destroyed it once with water, and he's going to destroy it again with fire the second time around. Scientists believe that an eruption would eject 240 cubic miles, think about that, 240 cubic miles of material, and a pyroclastic flow would cause volcanic ash to be ejected miles into the air and scattered across the whole of the United States. That's pretty incredible. So the article, well, you can look at the article if you want, but I think this is pretty interesting information. A little update from jewsnews.co.il on the whole Yellowstone situation. Certainly, many earthquakes are occurring there, and at any point in time, it could be used for God's purposes to bring upon judgment on the United States. Maybe it's part of the reason why the United States is not a specific named country in the end time biblical wars in Gog and Magog, for example, etc. In Psalm 83 or any of the other wars. That's why they're not coming to help defend Israel against Gog Magog, against Russia with 200,000 footmen. Maybe that's exactly why they're not there, because the Yellowstone earthquake erupted, or Yellowstone supervolcano rather, or the Yellowstone supervolcano is actually just winding up, getting ready for God's wrath, which is to come sooner than later, and maybe that's the situation. Maybe it's winding up because it's just fulfilling end-time Bible prophecy about things increasing in frequency and intensity. And in the longer term, when the wrath of God comes upon the earth, maybe he uses that. So it's hard to say. I still tend to think that an economic collapse is the cause here. But this Yellowstone volcano is pretty significant. And it's poised, as scientists agree, to effectively wipe out the U.S. So it's interesting. It's because it's of its size, because of its reach. It's, like I say, it's poised to take out the U.S., which is kind of a key piece in end-time Bible prophecy. Somehow, the one world superpower, United States, is taken out of power in the world, so that the end-time prophetic wars can proceed without the involvement of the U.S., without the intervention of the U.S., so that God can show his power. So how does God remove the U.S. From being a world superpower, prevent them from taking part in these? Well, this could be part of it. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'll put the link in the description, and thanks for watching.